Will this be the bottle that makes me an Australian whiskey convert? I'm Jeff, this is G Whiskey, stick around. Okay, so we're looking at the Starward 100 proof today, which is actually my first Australian whiskey. Or, you know what, right out the gate, that's a lie. It's not my first Australian whiskey. I have had some before, but they were samples or they're with friends at whiskey shows. Those don't count. Anyway, this bottle comes courtesy of a supporter who generously donated it to the channel. So Neil, thank you very much. And I'll admit this is not a bottle that I would have sought out on my own, which is a good thing. Because I do get criticized for staying in my own wheelhouse too much and for often giving out too many high scores, which I do have an excuse for because I'm buying these bottles. It's my money, I'm spending on them, so I research the bottles, I buy the ones that I'm most likely to enjoy because why wouldn't I do that? Still, it is fun when circumstances push me outside of my comfort zone and I get to try and own and really spend time with bottles of whiskey that might otherwise not have been on my radar. And obviously, depending on the bottle, that can be a really fun experience. And very soon we're going to find out how this one worked out for me. As I said, it is kind of exciting. My first bottle of Australian single malt, Starward. So these guys are based out of Melbourne, and I believe they're the biggest and most widely available Australian single malt out there, although I could be wrong because I did no research. They definitely do have quite a few releases. They have a good amount of global distribution, so it does stand to reason. This is actually not the first time I've tried a Starward. Like I said, it's the first time I've owned one, but I've tried a couple of their whiskeys in passing, and I won't lie, they didn't really impress me at the time, but I'm told this is one of the better ones. This one has been fully matured in American oak Australian wine casks, which is cool. Casks from the Barossa Valley. Don't know where that is. And according to the website, they previously held bold reds like Cabernet and Shiraz. You know what? Wrong accent. Cabernet and Shiraz. Anyway, obviously this was a complete blind buy on my part. I've never had the 100 proof before specifically, but as I said earlier, in my experience, Starward has been kind of a hit or miss brand. Wine casks in general is a maturation that I consider to be hit or miss, and cask dominated whiskeys, which this one very much appears to be, also hit or miss, so I'm coming into this with a fair amount of skepticism. So let us not waste any more time. Let's see how this plays out. Let's jump into our review. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, so as the name 100 proof suggests, this one comes in at 50% ABV. I don't know if it's non-chill filtered or natural color. There's nothing on the label or the box or the websites that says it is. Whiskey Base does say it's non-chill filtered and natural color. They're not always to be trusted though. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll put a couple check marks up there. But if you guys know any different, let me know down below. So this is a very unique looking bottle, and Starward, if you check their website, go through their portfolio, they're very much not trying to be a traditional brand. They've got a very sort of modern and young vibe, which works for me because I'm very young and hip. I've low-key got a lot of riz, guys. No cap. These guys have very eccentric casks and production techniques. Their labels are like colorful and space-themed, I guess. They sell bottled cocktails. They're not trying to be a traditional scotch, okay? This is not your dad's single malt, which I think is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with a modern approach, and if you're not a Scottish single malt, why would you try and be? I think it's great that they're trying to carve out their own identity and appeal to a younger audience. That's all cool. That said, I don't love the bottle or the label. It appears to be going very fast. Whoa. 2.5 out of 5. As I said, this one does not mention if it's non-chill filtered or natural color. It does say it's fully matured in Australian wine casks. We get some tasting notes, and we get a blurb on the back that talks a little bit about Australian wine. It says that Melbourne's constantly changing weather allows the whiskey to mature and taste well beyond its years. And it says, pregnancy warning, alcohol can cause lifelong harm to your baby. But you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna drink it anyway. On the nose, unsurprisingly, the whiskey that's been fully matured in wine casks has a lot of very strong, very winey notes. Now, on the label, we get some tasting notes that say figs, blackberries, and vanilla, and that's dead on. This also gives us some chocolate, some raspberries, some general dark berries, and some drying oakiness. It's nice. On the palate and finish, this is nice and fully textured. It's sweet and fruit forward. Again, we get lots of like figs and blackberries and raspberries in here. There's also raisins, dates, cinnamon. There's lots of fruit gummy, dark fruit gummy type notes in here. There's their classic red wine flavors. We get a medium to long finish on indistinct dark fruits and some vanilla. All right, so I mentioned how modern this brand is, or how modern they're trying to be. Like when you look at the website and the packaging, it's totally different from single malt Scotch. So I kind of expected the flavors to be completely off the beaten path, and that's not really the case. This is more in line with the Scotch single malt than I thought it was going to be. It's not that much of a divergence. It is a little bit, but that's because I'm aware of it, because I'm looking for it. Point is, broadly speaking, this works, and I think it works well for people who are already fans of Scotch. These are not weird or obscure flavors. You are going to be able to get on board with these if you like your Scotch whiskeys. But of course, you need to like this profile. So if you like Scotch that's very cask forward, this could work. To the brand's credit, they do make it pretty clear what kind of profile you can expect from this. It does say right on the label, fully matured in Australian red wine casks. And I'm guessing a good, I don't know, 30, maybe 40% of my audience can read, so a good chunk of you should already know what to expect. If you want something delicate and subtle, this one's a big no-no, but if you can get along with this style, which granted is not my favorite style, and if you can get along with red wine casks, which is not my favorite kind of cask, you'll be fine with this. And listen, I know the way I just said that makes it sound like I don't like this whiskey. I actually do. I don't think every whiskey out there should be tailor-made to my personal style. That would be boring. Part of the reason I love whiskey is that you get so much variety in the flavors, and I don't want to live in a world that doesn't have sherry bombs, or I guess in this case, Australian red wine cask bombs. Sometimes they fit the mood. And listen, I do think this one works, but ultimately, it is a pretty straightforward, simple whiskey. It's berries and figs and vanilla and sweet wine notes. We get a good intensity from the ABV, and that's the pitch. No, this doesn't offer much in the way of distillate shining through, but our flavors are bold and satisfying, and the quality is there. So this one is a very nice sipper if it matches your sensibilities. And if it doesn't sound like something you'll enjoy, you probably won't. Go ahead and skip it. Like I said, not my favorite style, but I still like it. I think it's a nice dessert whiskey. By the way, just took another sip, noticed something. Wine coolers. Now, I don't know if those are still a thing, but I remember my mom used to drink those in the 90s. They're kind of like these carbonated, sweet wine flavored drinks. Bit of that in there. Score for this is going to be 84. I do think this is a nice dessert whiskey. It is a little bit sweet and superficial, which is going to bother some of you. But if you want some bold, satisfying red wine type flavors in your whiskey, this is absolutely going to work. It is loud, simple, sweet, and satisfying. Now, before we jump into value, I do want to do the obligatory thank you to everyone who's supporting the channel. So if you're on Patreon or if you're a channel member, guys, thank you very much. And if you want to help out, if you want to help keep me financially sustainable and independent, there are a number of ways that you can help. I've got Patreon, I've got PayPal listed down below. Anything and everything helps. And again, massive thank you if you're already supporting. Now let's see about value. All right, for value, this cost just over 75 US, so just above 60 pounds. And for that, I do think it's reasonable, but I don't think I'll be buying it again. Well, to be fair, I didn't buy it in the first place. Again, thank you, Neil. You're a legend. But the quality is there. So if these were the kinds of flavors that I sought out, then sure, I might give this one a second go. There's absolutely nothing off-putting about it. It is a well-balanced and bold whiskey. It does hit the spot. So if this is the kind of profile that you're okay with, absolutely check it out. All right, that brings us to the end of today's video. Guys, thank you very much for watching. And as usual, I want to hear from you. So have you tried the Starward 100 proof? Have you tried any other Starwards? Have you tried any other Australian whiskeys? What are your thoughts on Starwards, Australian whiskeys, whatever? Put that all down below. Finally, down below, you can also let me know what you want to see me review down the line, and I will keep that in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.